Welcome to the American Presidency Unfiltered, where we peel back the polished portraits of America's leaders and find the weird, human, and occasionally ridiculous stories hiding underneath. I'm your host, Brad Pitzl from Presidents.website, and today we're talking about Gerald Ford. Yes, the president who pardoned Nixon, survived 2 assassination attempts, and once posed as a male model for Cosmopolitan. That's right, before Ford was dodging political crises, he was dodging camera flashes. America's clean-cut poster boy for rugged charm. But here's the twist. Despite being a star athlete and war hero, Ford became known for one thing: falling down stairs. So today we're asking, how did a photogenic football player become a national punchline? And if a male model ran for president today, would he get roasted or rewarded? Today's episode is brought to you by politicaltradingcards.com. Grab a piece of history with the latest trading cards from the left and the right. politicaltradingcards.com. Before politics, Gerald Ford had the all-American resume: football star at Michigan, Navy officer in World War II, Yale law grad. Then in the early 1940s, he picked up a side gig: modeling. He was featured in Cosmopolitan and department store ads, often in uniform, projecting confidence, patriotism, and a square-jawed decency. It was less runway couture and more the kind of man who sells war bonds and mows his own lawn. These photos were classy, not risque, but they stuck. Decades later, when Ford took over the presidency, those images resurfaced. And suddenly, he wasn't just the accidental president, he was the president who used to model underwear. Imagine the headlines today: Commander-in-Chic. What makes the clumsy label sting is that Ford was actually one of the most athletic presidents in U.S. history. At Michigan, he was the team MVP, played both offense and defense, and turned down NFL contracts from the Packers and the Lions to attend law school. The guy was coordinated. He even served with distinction in the Navy. So how did that guy become the poster child for presidential pratfalls? One word: media. Ford's first infamous stumble came in 1975, a slip down the steps of Air Force One in Austria. The cameras caught it, and the footage looped endlessly. Suddenly, America's former MVP was Mr. Klutz. Chevy Chase built a Saturday Night Live career parodying him, tripping over podiums and bumping into walls. Ford took it in stride, literally. "I'm a Ford, not a Lincoln," he liked to joke. But once a narrative takes hold, you're done. By the mid-70s, the country needed comic relief after Watergate, and Ford, honest, decent, and unpretentious, became an easy target. Time ran a story titled The Ridicule Problem. Late-night hosts roasted him. Newspaper cartoonists drew banana peels outside the Oval Office. It didn't matter that he was a college athlete or a Navy veteran. The image of him slipping once or twice became the metaphor for his presidency. And here's the kicker: Ford actually handled it better than most politicians would have today. He laughed with the press, told self-deprecating stories, even invited Chevy Chase to perform at events. He understood something that today's politicians often forget: if you can't control the joke, at least join in on the laugh. Let's talk about Ford's looks, because come on, they did matter. He had movie star bone structure and that Midwestern dad-next-door charm. There's a reason Cosmo called him up. So did being handsome help? Maybe with first impressions. Studies have shown voters tend to trust attractive candidates. But in Ford's case, the looks probably worked against him once the clumsiness started. America expected the suave, steady model, not the guy tumbling off Air Force One. The contrast made the humor land harder. Now picture that in current day: a former model running for president. Social media would lose it. We'd have memes in 5 seconds, and depending on the lighting, half the internet would call him presidential, the other half vain. In today's optics-based world, Ford's modeling past may have actually helped him, until he tripped once on camera. So what can we learn from Gerald Ford's oddly glamorous, oddly clumsy presidency? First, you can't control your narrative. Ford was a disciplined, athletic, intelligent man who became a punchline because it fit the story people wanted to tell. Second, humor is survival. Ford leaned into the jokes instead of fighting them, and that humility made him likable, even when the polls didn't. And third, image only gets you so far. Whether you're a model, a movie star, or a congressman with good lighting, your real story comes out eventually. Ford's life reminds us that presidents aren't marble statues. They're human, sometimes elegant, sometimes awkward, sometimes falling down the stairs in front of the whole world. And that's our show for today. Gerald Ford, the president who modeled for Cosmo, fell for the headlines, and still managed to leave office with grace. If you've enjoyed this episode, follow the American Presidency Unfiltered wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a review and tell your history-loving friends. And remember, even the most polished presidents have their blooper reels. Thanks for listening, and try not to trip on your way out.